Welcome, my friends, to the Saturday morning live stream at Garden Like a Viking headquarters. And I am just now doing it on Instagram live as well. So this is a Q&A, guys. Hello to everyone on Instagram. I'll get a microphone for the Instagram one as well. I got the Instagram camera down here and the YouTube one here because I'm just trying to grow the Instagram as well. But the YouTube is, I love you guys. So that's the primary. So, yeah, you guys can switch over to the YouTube one, or you can put the questions here, and I will also try to answer the Instagram questions. So let us see, my friends, what is going on. Let's see here. We got Becky Knight says, how's it going, gardeners? Danger Pigeon, good morning. Hello, Clem Fandango. Francisco Silva, is it okay to use 99.5% sulfur pellets to make JDOM sulfur? Yes. You want to get the purest grade possible to make the sulfur, which is the the fungicide. Really, it's primarily fungicide. Also can be insecticide. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's about as pure as you get. I might have 99.9%, but it'll work. The less pure that the sulfur is, though, the more of an issue you may have with the clumping and all of the stuff not dissolving totally. But it'll still work pretty good. So if that's all you can find, go ahead and use it. Okay? So let's see here. Yeah, I got people on the Instagram as well. They're doing a little wave. I'm not really familiar with Instagram Live, so you guys are just kind of along for the ride at the moment. Barbara, hello from sunny Florida. Ms. P, hello, good to see you here. Lori Sparkles, good morning from snowy Utah. You guys got a lot of snow right now, don't you? Jeremy Ransom, good morning all. Hope all is growing well. Dry for now in San Diego, California, zone 10A. Our Legato, good to see you here. Taida. And Jose, hello from Thailand. Yo, turning in from Chico, California. All right. Good to see you here. I spent many years in Humboldt. Ms. P says, what do you think about terminating cover crops by smothering? That is a great question, and one that can work for certain cover crops. But let me say this. If you have planted the winter rye or the winter wheat as your cover crop, smothering it is not going to work. I mean, you would have to start now, and you would have to smother it for a month solid. And all that may very well happen is it'll just keep growing underneath it. It's incredible. Incredibly hard to terminate. So if you have the winter rye or the winter wheat, you're not going to really be able to terminate it that way because it will just grow back as soon as you cover it off. So you have to wait, and this is why I made the videos in the fall time. When you plant a winter rye or winter wheat as your cover crop, you have to wait until the appropriate time to terminate it. Because you guys will see, if you've planted it this year, the winter rye will just keep growing, and if you cut it at the wrong time, like right now, or in 3 weeks or a month from now, it will just keep growing back. It'll just keep growing back like grass, because it is like a grass. And it'll just keep growing back until the time comes when it begins to set its seed. Then, once it gets to the right stage, if you terminate it at just that time, it will not grow back. And it will be totally fine. Everything will be fine. But if you try to terminate it before that, man, I tried so many methods. Even I took the blowtorch to it. I did the blowtorch, and all that does is kill the above ground stuff. And the underground, it just grew right back. It like grew back more vigorous than before. I took the spade shovel or the flat shovel to try to scrape off, right at the ground level. Didn't work. It all just grows back. So that's for the winter rye or the winter wheat, okay? But now if you planted like a crimson clover or something, yes, you can smother those ones. They're not nearly as vigorous as the winter rye and wheat. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to wave at these guys here on Instagram. Don't know. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments, guys. It's just a live Q&A, okay? Let's see here. Some Saeed Garden said some myth said compost tea no effect. That, right? I'm not sure what you mean by that, my friend. Compost tea. Compost teas can be very good. They're a very good source of microbiology and nutrients for the plants and for the soil. So yes. Josh McConnell, hello, my friend. He says, good morning, Nate. Sun is coming out here in mid-Missouri. That's funny. As soon as you said that, the sun came out for just like the first time today. Otherwise, it's been pretty much raining all day here in northern Indiana. Saeed Garden says, hello from Iran. Okay, that is perhaps why there was a translation error with your question. Could you ask it in a different way? The compost tea? Yes, it's very good stuff. Danger Pigeon says, are eggshells the only thing you can react with vinegar for the calcium solution? No, eggshells are the best, but any pure source of the calcium carbonate is going to work. So oyster shells or the hard seashells. They have to be the hard shells though. You can't do it with crab shells and prawn shells or shrimp shells. They don't work. Okay, you can still make a good fertilizer, a chitin type. You can still make a good fertilizer with the crab shells and the prawn shells and the shrimp and the crayfish or the crawfish boil. I can't call it crayfish, man. They made fun of us down there in Louisiana. I was down there with stale cracker and doing a crawfish boil. And this was in Arkansas, South Arkansas. And one of our other guys from Indiana, there was a bunch of us there, and he was calling them crayfish. And them guys about had a heart attack. And in fact, they made him say it on camera so that they could make fun of him about it. It was just funny. Yeah, so it's not crayfish, okay? Word to the wise. And that comes right from the mouth of Stale Cracker himself, who is the guru on crawfish boil. So okay, let's see here. Viman Direk3 says, are cover crops necessary with a year-round growing season, amending with compost and manures all year round? Are they necessary? No, they're not. But they do, because if you've got a living root in the ground all year, then you're good. So it's not really going to matter. That's the whole purpose, is to have the living root in the ground all the time, because only a living root, remember this guys, only a living root being in the ground has the ability to build soil, which is soil building is a process where the plant captures atmospheric carbon and other elements using the power of the sun. It combines the elements and pumps the carbon into the soil, literally changing the structure of the soil, building the soil. Nothing else can do that. No amount of manures that you put on, no amount of leaf molds, no amount of compost, blood meal, bone meal, none of that stuff. That's all fertility adding. Building soil is only done by a plant. And so that is what we use cover crops for, so that we can build the soil. And to do that, you can just make sure you have a living root in the ground all the time. For us, like in zone 5, 5B, 6A, we plant cover crops because nothing else is going to grow. Nothing else is growing over the winter time except the winter wheat or the winter rye. That will go dormant, and then like right now it's already started growing again. The winter rye is like this tall. It breaks its dormancy, and then it will start growing all in this time where nothing else can be in the ground. Like even if we put out other cold hardy stuff, it'd still die at this time of year, except for the cover crop ones. Those are ones specifically chosen for that purpose. So that's why we use that, the cover crops. And then I'll cut that down, and then I'll only have, so there will only be like 2 weeks without a plant actually building the soil, even though the living roots will still be in the ground. So then we can plant our heat-loving stuff like the peppers and tomatoes. I've used cover crops on both those plots this year, and that is going to then put a living root back into the ground, and those microorganisms are going to already be there. All the organic matter, the established relationships with the fungi and all that kind of stuff, it's all sort of more present already in the soil. So if you're growing year round, you don't necessarily need that, although you still can. And I recommend a clover. I recommend a clover because it's going to help to pump nitrogen and other things into the soil and help to bolster the nitrogen capturing bacteria in the soil. And so, and plus the clovers, especially like a Dutch white clover, if you use that, it's a low growing clover. It's the little beautiful white clover that all the bees like. If you use that, you can actually use that like a living mulch. So Dutch white clover is the one that you can actually plant your plants into the crop of Dutch white clover, because they're not very competitive. So you can do things like that. Or you could let one of your plots go fallow, or not fallow, but you could let one of your plots go cover crop for 6 months and then terminate it and then plant into it and rotate like that. It definitely helps. So let's see here. I need to know, Austin says, I need to know how to get rid of invasive quackgrass without using chemicals. Yeah, guys, what are some of the tried and true methods that Austin can use to get rid of the quackgrass? You know why they call it quackgrass? Is because it turns you absolutely insane trying to get rid of it. It turns you into a quack. That's why. Because it is really difficult to tell. Okay? It's really difficult to get rid of it. Now, you can smother it out. Yes, that can work. If you till up all the grass, you're breaking all them little rhizomes into 1,000 pieces, and then you'll have even more, because all it takes is a small little part of the underground root to propagate. Yes, you can. Solarization, yes, that can work for it. If it's nice and blazing hot, that can work. But even then, you're going to have to use some kind of mulch system. It's been my experience, and if you have the quackgrass, pretty much, you will have to terminate it in some way, which is only temporary because it will grow back. And then you're going to have to utilize a heavy mulch of some kind, okay? So that is going to help to suppress it. There's really only controlling quackgrass. There's not eradicating it, not in a simple way, without dumping glyphosate on. So we got an Instagram live question. Dust to Living Soil says, why don't people use native plants for cover crops? They are best for your area, which, yes, that is true. That can definitely be true. However, we do run into issues with the acquisition of the seed in any kind of meaningful quantity. That would be one of them. And also, if you can use the native plants for the cover crops, use that. Absolutely, that's good advice. But that can be tough. That's the only thing that I say. That can be tough just because you would have to hand harvest the seeds yourself unless you've got a source for the already cleaned seed. So yeah, but that's a good suggestion, okay? Creekside Farm, what's up, my man? Let's see, Dust to Living Soil, pee on it. Absolutely, urine is a wonderful fertilizer, guys, as you know. Let's see, Harry My Food says, what's happening? First chance I've been able to get to the live stream. Good day from East Texas. Good day from Northern Indiana, my friend. Let's see here. Okay, Ms. P says, I deal with quackgrass by creating barriers with wide paths and herb borders and aggressive roots. It laughs at most controls, including deep mulch. Oh, absolutely. I'm not even talking deep mulch. I'm talking mulch of landscaping fabric. And even then, it will shoot its rhizomes out and come up through the hole. I mean, it's crazy. So, yeah. Okay, so Ms. P says she deals with it by creating barriers for it. Plant wide paths and herb borders and aggressive roots. Yeah, okay. Elena says, which fertilizer is best for fruit trees grown in clay soil? So really, okay, the best fertilizer for the fruit trees is going to be the fermented fertilizer from the fruit tree. So watch my video on how to make a crop-specific fertilizer. I mean, essentially, so if I grew peaches, I would take all of the diseased and rotten fruit or stuff that fell to the ground, some of it, and the leaves and any of the branches, that kind of stuff that I have to take off, you put into the barrel. You add the leaf mold with it from the videos that I've showed you how to gather the leaf mold, and fill it the rest of the way with the water. And allow that to ferment, and that's going to be everything that the fruit tree really needs. And so you want to use that one, because that's what the fruit tree does anyways. The fruit tree mines minerals from deep into the soil, and it uses the power of the sun to combine all of the elements and then create the fruit. And then some of the fruits get taken by animals and spread that way, yes, but most of the fruits fall to the ground, where they decompose. And year after year, that cycle of mining the roots out of the earth and depositing them on top of the soil in the form that the plant needs, custom tailors that soil to the exact conditions that that plant wants. That's how nature does it. That's why nobody ever has to fertilize nature, because it mines the soil, drops it all right there. And so we can mimic that with the fertilizers, and the crop residue fertilizer would be best for the fruit trees. Also, you want to use the fish fertilizer. You want to use cover cropping around your fruit trees. If you can't use cover cropping, you want to use a heavy, deep mulch of a good hardwood, several feet, I mean, all the way out to the drip line of the tree. Okay, but ideally you want a cover crop. A clover would be really good in there. But any of the liquid fertilizers or any of the fertilizers in general from this channel will be good. But since you asked for the best one for fruit trees, it's the crop residue. Okay, let's see here. Dust to Living Soil says on the Instagram chat, I've heard that you can actually completely eliminate weeds from having the proper fertility and your soil if you replicate how a forest does it with the soil food web. And yes, I have heard this as well. And theoretically, it makes sense that, okay, so the dandelion is trying to tell you that there's not enough calcium in the soil. So that's why it mines the calcium, deposits it into the soil. And so it will correct the calcium deficiency that is in the soil, so that once you have appropriate amounts of calcium, you won't get dandelions anymore. So I understand that theory, and it makes sense. And I do know that dandelions are high in calcium. At the same time, though, I've never experienced that. I've never seen or known anyone that has experienced that on anything more than a theoretical level. To say, yeah, once your soil gets right, weeds just won't grow. You won't have any dandelions. Okay, maybe. But I've yet to see that yet. So I will have to get back to you at some point if that happens. Once I get the ranch, the land, and we're doing all kinds of stuff, we will have a plot that will be dedicated to this test. And we will make sure, and we will use specifically dandelions, so we will know. Okay. Boy, it is super windy here today, guys. Do you hear my 100-year-old house here? It sounds like I'm on an old wooden pirate ship where all the windows are just rattling around their original windows. And I can feel a draft in here and stuff. Yeah. And the internet might cut out or something because, when it gets windy for some reason, the internet kind of gets spotty. I don't know if it blows the signal around or what. But let's see here. So Buddy Carmine says, question, have you already put in your potatoes? No, I have not. I have not because our last frost date is about the middle of May. So you do not want the potato to get hit by frost. So if I put them in now, they may start to grow. But then if we get one rogue frost, they're all dead. And so I'm not really gaining anything by starting early. I've realized, guys, for most things, almost everything, just wait. Okay, wait until the appropriate time. Things are a bit warmer. They're going to grow better. But again, I'm in northern Indiana, so you might have planted them already if you are in, the South somewhere, because you don't want to go more than 2 or 3 weeks before your last frost date, because you don't want them to get hit by the frost. So that's what that is, because they're actually they don't tolerate. They're not frost hardy potatoes. Okay, Kathy, let's see here. Jenna says, what zone are you in? I'm in zone 5B, 6A. 5, really. Kathy says, what's the best way to grow your potatoes? Above the ground in straw or what? That's going to depend on what you have available. So that depends. The grow bag method, as you saw from one of my videos, the potato grow bag method, that can be very good for people that have a lot of compost, but don't want to use their native soil or can't use their native soil for whatever reason. You can even do the grow bags on top of concrete. Those work really well. And I've had so many comments. That grow bag video has like 700,000 views now, and which is crazy. But I've gotten so many comments about it and about the plastic and stuff. And yes, I understand the plastic issue, but at the same time, guys, these a lot of my techniques and stuff I've picked up along the way from traveling in third world countries, okay? In places where they don't have the luxury of just saying, well, I'm going to use $25 a piece fabric grow pots so that I don't have to think that I'm, so that the plastic, okay, that's fine. If you've got $1,000 to invest in your potato grow bag setup, that's fine. 1,000 might be a bit much, but you get the point. So the point is that, the plastic is the bags. I show people how to the system that I've seen for and have used for a number of years with great success to grow potatoes or anything else you want in grow bags that is just compost, and you roll it down and put the holes in it, and you put the stuff in there. Okay, it works really well. Now, a lot of people are like, I use cardboard boxes and stuff, and I don't know how many people actually, a lot of people that comment about stuff, they haven't actually done it. They've seen a video about it and it makes sense to them, so they say, that's what I do. So I grow in cardboard boxes. I'm sure some people do with success, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, and I've tried this before, and growing in the cardboard boxes, or even the fabric pots, they dry out so much faster. You're going to be using 5 or 10 times the amount of water in a cardboard or a fabric container than you would with the bag, because the plastic conserves the moisture. That's why they use it extensively on organic farming operations and stuff. So I'm not saying one way is right or the other. I'm just saying that that's one way to do it for super cheap for people that don't have a lot of startup money but want to have a great result. So that being said, though, potatoes you can grow. The original question, what's the best way? You can grow potatoes almost anywhere, my man. You can grow them in any way, in the trench method or in the Ruth Stout type method. All of that stuff works really well. So Dav says, I made it. Cheers, everyone, from Colorado 6A. Hello, my friend. LSF Prepper, what are your thoughts on using beneficial nematodes to control grubs, ants, ticks, etc.? I do not have a lot of experience with that. Yep. So I can't say authoritatively either way how that would work. But if you guys have experience with that, let me know. But I focus on trying to create the most thriving microbiome, or the thriving place where the habitat for the predators to come. So the predators that would eat many of these things, you want to create the habitat and introduce them into the place, both on a microorganism scale and on a insect scale. All that stuff is really good. That's why we never use like real insecticides that just kill everything, because we're also killing the predators. I do know a very good, effective thing for the root nematodes is boiling the marigolds, using the fertilizer, the pesticide, just like we did the Jerusalem artichoke, except with the marigolds. Works very well. Jerry says, is 70 degrees soil temp hot enough for sweet potato start in soil? Yes, they will start at that temperature. Yes. It's let's see, 70 degrees. Yeah, they'll start pretty good at 70 degrees. It'll just take a little bit longer. So, and that leads me into one thing I want to show you guys. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit congested. I just got some kind of past couple of days, I was working in some molds and stuff, and it just kind of got to me and inflamed my nasal passages. But yeah, I'm not sick or anything. I feel fantastic. But let me see there. Someone said, Sunbeam Microgreens said, keep the beard, brother. Hey, thank you. Yeah, the beard is, but man, it's such a commitment to have this massive woolly mammoth on your face is you got to walk around all the time with this thing. And so once it gets hot, it's probably coming off. I'm just going to do the Viking mustache instead, because this is like having a wool hat on your face all the time. So, but what was I going to say? I got distracted by the beard comment. Sorry, guys. Okay, yeah. This is how I've started them many years past, in the glass jar method. And it works really good. It does. And it's been in there about a month, maybe 5 weeks even now. And you can see that the sprouts are just beginning. You see there? The little tiny sprouts are beginning. You guys on Instagram, you can see the little sprouts are just beginning. And these are going to grow up nice and tall, and they are going to become full-size shoots. Okay, and so that's why, so these are about 5 weeks now. And this is why I used to start them in February. And yes, when you do this method, I used to just put them in the window, and it would take months to get them full size. But because the temperature was like 60 degrees. So Jerry, yes, definitely 70 degrees will work, though a little bit slower. But now, okay, now get one more time, get a good look at that, okay? Get a good look at this, at the size of these ones. This has been 6 weeks, okay? And now get a look at these ones, which I planted on the exact same day, my friends. Look at this. The soil method is the absolute clear winner as far as speed. So these are bursting out of this thing, and they're buried 5 inches deep, 4 inches deep. And so they've already come up through all of that. So these are like 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches long already, where the other ones are just a half of an inch long. You see there on Instagram, guys, how it's, these have already sprouted. So they're like, 10 times, 15 times the size of the other ones, planted on the same day. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pretty much only do that method from now on. Although the water method still works, but there's a clear winner right there. Okay. Austin, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. First tip of the day. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Jen Fari says, mushrooms are starting to get really expensive to buy. Any suggestions on getting started with them? Well, you're in luck because I made a 3-part video series that explains how to grow oyster mushrooms in buckets. And oh man, I wanted to get for you guys the lion's mane. I've got those still fruiting in the buckets. And so, yes, absolutely. They are getting expensive, and you can grow the best ones yourself just on straw or hardwood pellets. That's what I'm growing the lion's mane on. And yeah, it works really good. So let's see here. K9 Resources says, will the soil planted method continually produce slips like the water method does? Yes, it does. And that is why when we go to harvest them, and I did this last year, when we go to harvest them, well, you can't really see it, but we put our hand on top of the soil so that the slip is just coming through like this, and then we gently twist and pull like that, leaving the whole sweet potato actually in the ground. We don't dig the sweet potato up or anything like that. So yes, like that, it will just keep producing slips. And Dust to Living Soil on Instagram says, drink some EM1. That's what I do when I feel sick. Yeah. We don't use EM here because we brew something far superior to EM, and that is the Jadam microbial solution with the local leaf mold, and all of that stuff is really good and powerful. Let's see here. Ms. P, $5. Second tip of the day. Thank you very much, my friend. Nate, do a neti pot rinse with sterile water and pink salt or nasal spray. Yes, I totally forgot about the neti pot. I have one upstairs with the good sea salt and everything. Why did I not do that? That's exactly what I need. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that as soon as this is over. Yes, Hans Ketchup, $2. Thank you very much, my friend. Third tip of the day. Hurrah. Hi, Nate. Hello, Hans. Mom Computer, good to see you here. Let's see. She says, Ms. P, you beat me to that. Both are great solutions. And Tree Rogi, I'm going to try potatoes in a hard kitchen appliance box with a big garbage bag inside that also folds over the outside. Saw a video. It looked like it works. Okay. I'm going to try. Oh, okay. So a cardboard box with the bag folded over, right, to give it structure. That's cool. That's fine. But you might not, I mean, it's not really necessary, but yes. Yeah. I mean, because the bag will give it plenty of structure. Watch the grow bag method, the thing that I Showed you guys. You Exist says mushrooms are pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Absolutely. And the mushroom videos this winter, you know, the channel wasn't quite big enough this winter to really have a good response or a good following on the mushroom videos, but it will be next year. There will be enough people involved. And so I made 3 videos, and I was just getting the hang of doing it again myself. I mean, I had done it many years ago now, and different types of mushrooms, and I also did oyster mushrooms, but now I was getting back into it and stuff, so I just used the system that I used to use, and it works really good. And so I've refined it a number of ways, though, over this winter. So the next winter, when we go to grow indoors again, I've got a number of different tips and methods for you guys, simplifying everything. So yeah, it's actually very simple. And then once you do it, once you inoculate the buckets, they keep producing for quite some time. So, okay, Saeed on Instagram says, do you have any solution for control of the fruit flies? Okay, fruit flies, typically you have to take away their food source. So it depends. You want to see in your setup, why are the fruit flies there, for one. For two, okay, so you have to ask yourself a number of questions. One, why are they there? Because what's their food source? Is the conditions too wet? Is there not enough airflow? The old PF Tech, yes, that's right, Josh. I used to use that. Or is there not enough airflow? Or do I have rotting produce? Do I have rotting stuff? Because the fruit flies are not going to attack the nice, healthy, living plants. They're going to attack what is diseased and decaying and dying, or the must in the soil, okay? So what you want to do is eliminate that. And then another question you have to ask yourself is, are they actually harming anything? Because chances are very high that they're not harming anything. Their larvae can eat away at the roots of the plants, but even that's like a serious infestation. You know, so you really, fruit flies don't really cause a lot of damage. Maybe you're in the tropics or something, I'm not sure exactly, but okay. So then the next level of control, okay, so you want to make sure that you remove their food source, up the air circulation, maybe up the light. Then you want to ask yourself, is it really that big of a problem? Are they really doing damage? Do I even need to do anything more? And then if yes, then you can utilize the JWA, the wetting agent. Make the wetting agent, and you can apply that at 2 ounces a gallon, okay, with about 1 teaspoon of sodium hydroxide, okay? And you can apply that, and that will kill the fruit flies, their larvae, and any other soft-bodied creature in the area that it directly hits. But it will not harm the plants or the root system at all in those concentrations. So, but that's only as a last resort. You know, really just try the JWA by itself. If you do 2 or 3 ounces of the wetting agent per gallon, that's going to give you enough power. You probably won't even need to add the sodium hydroxide. So try that first, okay? And between all those options, you'll get it solved. Yes, algae growth is a hot spot for them, definitely. Yes, they like that. Robo says, give the Viking a thumbs up, guys. Yes, please remember to give the video a thumbs up. Also, guys, share all the videos that you can if you want other people to know this knowledge, because the whole thing is trying to get each person, or as many people as possible, growing something. Okay, to dust away or to throw away the concept that if you can't grow, if you don't have a homestead, you just don't even bother with it. No, everybody needs to be growing something to offset and to help decentralize the food supply and production system. Okay, so that's the mission. So we can share that with other people. Also, check out the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account, where I'm doing videos and reels and stuff on a daily basis pretty much now, about things I don't want to make whole videos about on YouTube. So let's see here. Taida Henna, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. By the way, Taida's got a great Instagram account as well. She does beautiful henna. I mean, I spent a lot of time in India, and so I know what good henna looks like, and she's very talented. So there's that. But also, she says, how small of a bag is too small for potatoes? I was thinking of trying 2 per 50-pound feed bag. 1 per 40-pound bag. I saved all my chicken feed bags. All right, good idea with saving the chicken feed bags. And let's see, 50-pound. If you're gonna fill the 50-pound bag, you can put. If you watch my potato grow bag method, you can put them like on different levels. If you're doing the determinate type of tomatoes, which is the vast majority of them, so I'm gonna recommend Yukon Golds, Kennebecs, or Red New Orleans, or Pontiac Reds. Those are all determinate, real good quality ones. Okay, so if you use those are gonna grow. Contrary to popular belief, which that's my catchphrase because it's so true. Contrary to popular belief, potatoes do not grow up the vine. Most of them. Some variety of the indeterminate potatoes do, yes. But for the vast majority, any of the ones you're going to get in the stores, those are all determinate. And so they only grow more potatoes on the level that you plant them. They'll grow roots down and shoots and vines up, but tubers only outwards and slightly, just pretty much outwards on the same level. And so the reason most people hill them is to keep them out of the light, because once they reach sunlight, they turn green. They start producing solanum, I think it is the chemical name, and that will make them inedible. Okay, so but where was I going with that? Your question was how? Okay, so 50-pound bag, I'd say you could plant 4 per container on 2 different levels, or 2 or 3 of them on the same level. It depends. See, if they're real long and tall, like I'm thinking like some feed bags are, then you might want to get a hold of some German butterball potatoes. Okay, guys, this is the secret. This is the master class right here. Okay, so if you're ready for this, you can, if you got a tall, long thing, then, or you want to do some potato towers, you can do those. They can work, but you want to get the German butterball because it is a true indeterminate type, and it will grow potatoes all the way up the stem. So you will plant it at the bottom of the bag. You'll roll the bag all the way down, plant it towards the bottom, so there's only like a few inches of soil, and then cover it just lightly. Then once it shoots up above that, you're going to want to cover it with more soil, and it's going to grow a little bit longer, and then you're going to cover it with more soil. You're going to keep doing that, and you roll the bag up until it's reached the top of the bag. Okay. Yeah, and that will produce for you a lot of potatoes. So if you've got tall, skinny bags, that'd be the best way to do it. But you could do it, whatever way you want. On Instagram, TJ Björk says, I really appreciate your videos, especially how you do things the way nature does it. I learn a lot about healthy soil from you. Thank you for telling me that, my friend. That is good to know, and that's what it's all about, is sharing this knowledge and sharing this this stuff that I've gained over a lifetime, and it just feels right to be sharing it with everybody. So Saeed says, I hear you should not mix fertilizer like potassium with nitrogen. Is that right? That depends on what kind of fertilizer you're talking about. If you're talking about chemical granular fertilizers, I have divorced myself pretty much from all of that. Although I was extensively into that many years ago, I don't really. So if it's chemical fertilizers, yes. But if it is like the natural way, we don't really dissect N, P, and K anymore, and we don't really concern ourselves with the vegetative cycle versus the flowering cycle. We do like nature does, and we provide a balanced nutrition all the time. That's what's most important. Let's see here. Okay, Darren Redding says, recipe for DIY dishwashing liquid that I can pour on my compost. You were talking about the wetting agent, so please watch the video I made, homemade wetting agent. That will do it. I made 29 gallons of that stuff for about $48, I think it was. Okay. Do you, Apollo Muscles, that's a nice name. Do you believe overusing urine on compost pile regarding salts to be a problem? No, I don't really. I mean, of course, like anything. Okay, so in reality, in nature, the good and the bad are one and the same thing. They are just opposite ends of the same thing. So while urine is very good for the soil and all kinds of things, Too much of it is the opposite end, and that will make it bad. So if you're just dumping your whole family's urine on your tiny little compost pile, yes, that's possible to overdo it. But for the most part, you could be dumping, so let's say you have a gallon that you make every 2 days. There's a gallon, and you're pouring that on a compost pile that is 4 by 4 by 4, at least that size. Then there's nothing really to worry about, okay? The salts is not going to accumulate in any meaningful way. But I would go ahead, if you're really into saving the urine, add it to the compost pile, but also add it directly to the soil. But also ferment it in the way that I showed in that video. Because yes, it changes it. It does something, I'm still not entirely sure what it does as far as a chemical composition. I know that it has to do with the conversion of the nitrogen forms, the nitrates and things. But I do not understand exactly the chemistry, but all I know for sure is that it works. So if you make a gallon of pee a day, you're in luck. That's what somebody said. Yeah, that's funny. Oh man, what was I going to say? That made me laugh. But the urine as the fertilizer, no, you can't really overdo it. Okay, so just add it to the soil. And what it does is when you ferment it with the leaf mold in the bucket, it changes something to the way it is so much more potent. It is so much more like the smell changes, the color changes, and the effect changes. You only have to use a tablespoon or an ounce per gallon instead of like 2 cups per gallon. It's a fresh urine. So definitely ferment some of it. And fermenting it is really good for a foliar application of it. And if you're going to use human urine in certified organic farming, it has to be digested for 6 months. And so, technically. So, let's see here. Okay. So, RK says, Ms. P, thank you. I'm trying to get more space, open quickly, and figure should do the job. Okay. I consume 2 pounds of chicken a day. My urine is very high in nitrogen. So perfect. Absolutely. If that's the case, then yes. Okay, so you must be into bodybuilding of some kind. If your name is Apollo Muscles and you consume 2 pounds of chicken, then you are into the muscles. Let's see here. WCAP in Korean farming, is it worth burning bones and put it in vinegar? Absolutely it is, and I'm going to be making a video on that, so I'm not going to explain a whole lot right now. Man, I got something, okay, my sinuses are a little bit congested. But yes, I'm going to be making a video on that, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about that, but definitely that's a very good beneficial solution. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's see here. Hello, Xavier. Becky Knight, maybe overwatering. Okay, let's see here. What are the other questions? Jerry didn't ask a question, didn't he? Oh, Jen Fari, $2. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate the input. Let's see here. I know Jerry asked a question. So let's see here. Where was it? Okay, Jerry says, would the feed sacks dry out too fast since they are often woven plastic? They do dry out faster than regular plastic, yes, but they won't dry out too fast. It just depends, So if you're in a place that is arid, then it's going to be a lot more of a concern. But for you, really, I've had years where I just didn't even have to irrigate the potato bags, and natural rainfall was sufficient. And so, but the woven plastic, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think if that's what you have, use it, and you'll be fine. But it's the burlap that really dries out fast. I mean, fast. So, let's see here. Becky says, Nate, the color of the leaves, do they indicate a nutrient deficiency if too bright green instead of dark green? It depends what kind of plant you're talking about, and it depends on a number of factors. But typically that can be, yes, that can be the beginning of a nutrient deficiency. It can be the beginning of a nitrogen deficiency. They'll turn like a bright, what appears to be a bright green, too bright of a green, and then they will start to turn a yellow. So that is definitely can be the case. But for nitrogen, a lot of times it will be from the oldest leaves first. So if your plant is growing and you see the bottom leaves turning yellow first, turning lime green and yellow first, then that's a indication of not enough nitrogen, because the plant will pull the nitrogen from the oldest leaves that are now down towards the ground and give it to the growing tips of the plant. And that is so because it wants the plant to grow, you know, like that. And so that's how you can tell if you've had a if you have a nitrogen deficiency. Okay, so. But going by the leaves, oh my gosh, yes, the leaves tell you everything. I mean, when I was growing in Northern California, that is how I spent hours every day walking through every greenhouse, every plant. I knew every plant. I mean, guys, it was crazy. So yes, and spending time and looking at the plants and reading it so that the moment that you sense the plant is trying to tell you something, you have to correct it. Okay, so you have to correct it immediately. And that's like the sign of someone who can grow really well as opposed to someone who just doesn't. So you have to, because by the time you actually see it really manifesting, it's already been weeks that the deficiency has occurred or the toxicity. And so you want to be able to tell the moment that it appears and then correct it. So yes. Let's see. Ms. P says, correct. Need nitrogen to make chlorophyll. Yes, need nitrogen to make chlorophyll. Also needs magnesium to make chlorophyll. Magnesium is the central ion in the chlorophyll molecule. It gets used up in the process of photosynthesis. So that is why magnesium is the #1 deficiency in an otherwise healthy garden, especially indoors, my friends. So, but that is knowledge from back in the day. So Becky Knight says, pull beans, bush beans around my moringa tree, planted from seeds, about 1 foot tall. That's what is turning that color? Okay, so typically it should not be, that might be overwatering then if they're turning yellowish color, okay? Because that is should not be happening. Your legumes should never have a nitrogen deficiency if they have the appropriate microorganism relationship. Because remember, the legumes will pull, they have a certain type of rhizobial bacteria in their roots that will pull nitrogen out of the air, because the air is actually 79% nitrogen, which is mind-blowing. And it's like 20.5% oxygen, and then like 0.5% all the other gases combined. It's only 1/100th of 1% CO2. But anyways, the where was I going with that? What were you saying? Where are we going? Where was I going with that? And yep, I forgot. Sorry, it happens. So many. Oh, yep, the pole beans. Okay, because all the comments are going boom, 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 boom. So yeah, the pole beans, the rhizobial bacteria is able to fix that from the atmosphere, and so that's the specialty of the legume, the beans and the peas and the clovers. That's why we use the clovers as a cover crop, because when you terminate it, all that stuff stays there, including the bacteria and the nitrogen. But if the bean plants do not have the appropriate microorganisms in the soil, then they can't form that relationship. So that's why you'll see a lot of times people will use a pea and bean inoculant. It's essentially just that type of microorganism so that it can guaranteed to form that relationship. Because if the soil is depleted in those, it's not going to form it very easily. So in our case, natural farming, what you want to do is add the microbial solution, which hopefully you have already a number of times, but add the JDAM microbial solution with the potato and stuff, and that is going to act as a very good inoculant. All the bacteria and stuff that you need is there. Sorry. Let's see. So I hope that answered it, okay? Let's see. Can I put, okay. Is curly top disease on tomatoes just luck of the draw, or is there a preventative measure that you can take to mitigate it? Almost 1/4 of my tomatoes got hit with it last year. Curly top disease. I've never experienced that, so I'm not entirely sure. I can't say for sure either way. I hope I never experience it. On Instagram, Gobstar says, "You have sparked the garden bug in my wife and myself. Thank you for the content. So glad I found you. Keep sharing the knowledge. Much appreciated." You are very welcome, my friend. That is what it is all about. Guys, don't forget to follow the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account, okay? That is okay. D-Bax brought up a question I wanted to say to you guys. Okay, so he says, or they says, do sunflowers remove toxins from soils that are hard, that they are used in Chernobyl to remove I heard they're used in Chernobyl to remove radiation from the soil. Okay, so we talked last week about it is well known that sunflowers remove toxins from the soil. Yes, you can decontaminate contaminated soils with sunflowers. They use it to pull radiation from the soil, okay, radioactive material from the soil. Now, I said last week that they mostly act through the activity of their roots and through the relationship of the microorganisms in the soil, they break down the toxins, which is true. They do break down the toxins and they help to process all of that and purify the soil. However, what I did extensive research this week on, and I come to this conclusion, is that the sunflower does hold the toxins in the plant material. So you do not use, if you have contaminated soil, you do not utilize the seeds, you do not utilize the plant, you cut it off, or you can even pull out the roots. If you expect it's really contaminated, if you're in East Palestine, for example, Ohio, and you've got super contaminated soil, you're gonna pull up the root and everything, that entire sunflower, and you're gonna discard it. You're not gonna compost it or nothing. I know, and that's the difference from last week. I said, yeah, you could go ahead and use it. No, you can't. So I want that to be known. I'm gonna make a short about that so people can know that, okay? So if you're using sunflowers to decontaminate your soil, you're not consuming them. You're not even composting them, okay? So, let me see. I think Mish Young, that's right, $20, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm glad to see you here. But okay, here we go. Mish the Fish says, "Hi, Nate. My seedlings are about 3 weeks from going into the ground. My Tahitian melon seedlings look a little yellow. How to remedy? I've used the seedling fertilizer twice." Okay, does that mean that you started them indoors? So does that mean that you didn't watch the video where I said we never start the Tahitian melon squash indoors? But if you have to start them indoors, okay, you can. But they are so hungry, and that's the thing about the Tahitian melon squash, and pretty much all the squashes and stuff like that, is going to send a request to be in. So the Tahitian melon squash is going to be such a vigorous plant, and it's going to want to. This is why we direct sow it, is because it wants to sprout, and then it sprouts 2 big leaves, and that uses those solar panels to put down a root set. And the initial root set in the first 2 weeks of the plant's life can, for a lot of plants, does determine the size of the adult plant. Because the plant uses that knowledge, uses that information to see, okay, how many nutrients are available? How rich of a space are we growing in? How sturdy is the ground? How big can I get? And it uses that, it imprints it in its DNA, or wherever it imprints it, and it says, okay, we're only gonna get to a certain size. So that is why it's very important that they have all the nutrients and all the stuff that they need. And so we want to use the richest solution possible, okay? We want to use the richest stuff that we possibly can. Now, if you have started them indoors, that's okay, but you're going to need to add more than that seedling fertilizer. You're going to need to add 1 ounce, even 2 ounces a gallon of the fish fertilizer if you've made that. If you haven't made the fish fertilizer, you can get a hold of some manure. I forget, do you got chickens? But if you have chickens, make some chicken manure tea and utilize that. Do about 1 cup of the fresh manure, or aged manure per gallon of water. Make the tea with that, and then dilute that still about 5 more times with water. Okay, so 1 to 5. Use that solution 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 with water, and apply that because that's what they need. Okay, so yes, that's why it's very common for starting up your squash and stuff indoors. It's very common for them to be yellow because they're just so hungry with nutrients. You know, really, if you're going to start up a squash, you need to have like an area like that big so it can really draw from all that nutrients of pure compost. I know. I hope that helps. But you will actually have better results, Mish, if you started over. I mean, have the ones you have now, okay, still use those, but also direct sow some, and you will see the ones that you direct sow are gonna sprout and blow right past the ones you started indoors. They'll be all stunted and trying to recover, and they just can't. Whereas the ones you direct sowed are just gonna explode, okay? So let me know if you have any more questions. Let's see here. Val requested to be in my live video somehow. I didn't really see that. I'm not that versed with the Instagram yet, but I will be. But if you want to be in the video, Val, send that to me again and I'll accept it, or whatever that means. I don't even know what it means, guys. Successful garden design, Rachel. She says, thanks for the sunflower info. I plan to grow them this year to help with all the chemtrail chemicals we get sprayed constantly here. Yeah, was that, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Successful garden design, Rachel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw like a town hall meeting where you were really on fire and it was awesome. Where you were in England, of course, somewhere, and you were talking about, what was the thing that you were talking about? Mining the lithium batteries and the toxification of the environment. Was that you? I mean, I was pretty sure it's you. And it just randomly came up on my feed somehow. And I was like, what is it? And I saw a picture and was like, yes, that was you. Okay. I saw a picture of it like in a town hall meeting, and I was like, that's Rachel. What? I clicked on it, and then, man, you were on point. So really well done. You know, really well done. You conveyed your, what you wanted to say. You conveyed it in a very level-headed and easy to receive manner. Yeah. So good job. 10 pounds sterling. Thank you very much, Rachel. Thanks for sharing all the great Viking knowledge. You're very welcome. Okay. Andrea Helene says, tree roots are in hugelkultur squash mounds and raised beds, not space to plant away from trees. Any ideas? Ooh, yeah. Oh man, tree roots can be brutal, my friend. I have had tree roots totally decimate a garden and render it useless. I have had that happen. Okay, so I don't have an easy cure for that. The tree roots, once the tree roots can grow up, yes, and once they sense a nice rich source of minerals and materials, they're going to grow into that. And there's no way that any plants can compete with those tree roots, because the tree, look at all the solar panels that the tree has. It has all that power. It's like a power plant. So there's no way that your stuff could survive in that. Okay. So I don't know yet. The way that we had to do it out at my dad's and stuff, because we tried for 2 years, a number of different garden plots, even like 30 feet away from the tree, and the whole thing became full. We did raised beds. The entire thing became filled with tree roots, to the point where you could barely get your hand in there, and you had to like take a machete and cut out a chunk, and it came out like that. Seriously, that's how many tree roots. We couldn't grow anything in there. So we had to lay down watch my video about grass to garden in one day, where we laid down the weed fabric, and then we put the fabric, big cloth pots, 150-gallon cloth pots. And that's what we had to do. And there's no tree roots now. Okay, let's see here. Chopping it out destroys, okay, the same guy says, chopping it out destroys soil ecosystem, right? Yeah, you don't want to chop it out. That's going to really harm the tree. I mean, unless you don't care about the tree, then you just take the tree down. Or so, I mean, I don't know what your place is like, but for the most part, we always want to leave the trees. And yes, chopping that will destroy the health of the tree. So, Cloud G says, Hi, Nate. Thank you for all the information. I'm in Western Massachusetts, zone 6A and B. Since we are almost in the same zone, I just want to ask if you already started peppers and tomatoes indoors. I'm new here in your live. Okay, well, welcome, my friend. I'm glad that you're here. And yes, I just started them last week. And they have just sprouted and they're still really small, so you still have time. You always want to err on the side of a little bit too late than starting too early, because the less amount of time that they have to stay indoors, it really is the better. Okay, but yeah, you've still got time. But if I were you, I'd plant them right away, because when is your last frost date? So it's easy enough to calculate. We take our last frost date and we go back 6 to 8 weeks, and that's when we start. That's when we start our heat-loving stuff. Peppers, tomatoes, stuff like that. Okay, you'll see a lot of people starting way earlier, and that's just unnecessary. And then they nurse along these sickly little plants like for months, and so that they plant them outside and they just stay there for weeks on end. They're just they're struggling to adapt because they're all sickly and weak. Their constitution is poor, and so you want the ones that have a nice strong constitution to them, so that they're just boom, they grow, and then they go outside and they're like, all right, and they put down the roots, and they know exactly what to do. That's what you want. Okay, let's see here. What on the Instagram live says, what are some simple ways to increase the fertility of the JMS? Are there other organic inputs that you can add to the solution to increase the fertility? Okay, so the JMS, he's talking about the microbial solution. That is not about NP and K by itself, okay? So that is a microbial solution. Ultimately, it's about NPK, because that's what does the converting of the organic matter into plant available nutrients, is the microorganisms. So we utilize the JMS, we brew it by itself. And then if we want to add other things, which we do, watch my video on the fertilizer regimen for this year, and you will see that. So we will brew the microbial solution with the potatoes separately, and then at the time of using it, at the point of use, we'll put it all into the same barrel, like a 50-gallon drum or wherever it is. We will put it all into the same barrel, and then we will apply it that way. Okay, so we do not add anything into the JMS as it's brewing. We brew it separately so that we can tell exactly when the bubbles are there and when it's at its peak, and then we are going to add it to the barrel. Then we're going to add some, at a ratio of 1 to 20, we're going to add like the grass JLF, the everything swamp water JLF, the chicken manure JLF if we have, or the some of the fish. You can go much lighter on the fish, maybe just 1 to 100. Of the fish. We add that and right as we apply it. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. Let's see here. Shooting the soil. Thanks for sharing your experience, Nate. Getting hungry. Got to go to get some food. Yeah, but man, I thought you were doing a live today at 11. So I looked on Instagram. I couldn't see it. I wanted to see what the soil microbiota was looking like. So, let's see here. Stone Creek. I have a big pile pure pine wood chips run through the chipper last year. Are they good? Absolutely, they're good. Now, they're not going to make a good fertility adding. There's not going to be they're pure carbon for the most part. So you will want to use them either as a mulch or as a carbon source for, let's say, if you found a trailer load of chicken manure or cow manure, you can add those in with it. Yes, that will work really well. Okay, dust to living. Yeah, okay, he says, okay, makes a lot of sense. Talking about the fertility adding. Okay, yes. Let's see here. Spreading Ideas says, have you ever grown grapevine? Is it true that grafting ones are better than cutting? Whoops. Man, when your nasal is congested, it's hard to swallow or breathe. Okay, I don't have a lot of experience with grapevines, but this past year, I saw my uncle do a very clever method of propagating the grapevines. He took essentially 5-gallon buckets, or they were like kitty litter buckets, the square type, and a couple of inches from the bottom he drilled a hole like this in it from the bottom of the bucket, drilled a hole on both sides, and then put the vine through the bucket all the way so that a couple of feet was, or like a foot or two was sticking out of the other end, and then filled it most of the way or half of the way with soil, and then just left it right there while the plant was still in the ground. And then after a certain amount of time, the part that was in the bucket rooted, set down roots, and then you can cut off from the mother plant, and now you have a totally new rooted plant. Yeah. No, he didn't do it. He didn't put it all the way through. He made one hole and then put it through and then had it coming out the top. That's right. That's what it was. So he had a 5-gallon bucket, had the hole a couple of inches, maybe a half a foot from the bottom, and then had the hole coming up and then coming out the top. So that once he cut it off, once it rooted, he cut it off from the mother plant, then you had one that you could take and then plant into the ground. That's a very good method of propagation. I saw that works. Okay. And let's see here. Mom Computer, Nate, go take a spoonful of horseradish and blow. Oh man, yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, I don't have any horseradish at the moment. Yeah, some wasabi would be good. That would clear it out real good. Ben T, let's see, says, Nate, do you do live streams on your other channels? It would be cool to chat about non-garden related topics too, though this is super great and I'm very grateful for it. That is a fantastic idea. And although I have yet to ever do a live on any of the other channels because the people's not there yet, I definitely want to. I'm going to, actually. That's a great idea. So yes, on which channel? The Travel Like a Viking channel or the more philosophical channel, Nate Murray? Because I could do it on either. If you want to know about traveling, world stuff, then I could do that as well. But if you want to know about the more spiritual stuff, we could talk on the Nate Murray channel. Yes. When would be a good time? Let's see. Yeah, ginger for congestion. I know this is loaded with it. Yes. On Instagram it says for Dust to Living Soil says for great vineyards they consider it a must to use seaweed as a foliage spray in order to allow the plant to branch out more. Seaweed is a fantastic foliar spray if you have access to it. Okay. PA says, Nate, what's your thoughts about a mix of poultry, rabbit, cow, and horse manure for a liquid fertilizer? Okay. What's your thoughts about a mix of poultry, rabbit, cow, and horse manure for a liquid fertilizer? Absolutely fantastic. You can absolutely do that. No problem. The rabbit manure, you can add straight to the soil. Straight to the soil. Doesn't matter. Okay. But the rabbit, the poultry, you'll want to, that can make it really strong, you know, so that would you'd almost want to make in a separate container because you want to dilute that stuff a lot, 1 to 500, you know, give or take. Whereas the cow and the rabbit, you can brew a tea with the rabbit and use it straight or use it 1 to 1 or 1 to 10. The cow, you're going to want to dilute 1 to 20, 1 to 40, something like that. But the rabbit, you're going to want to dilute much more than all those, you know. I said 500, but start with that. You could do 300 to 200. It's not an exact science. It all has to do with how much your plants will respond to that. So yes, but I'm gonna do a video pretty soon on just straight up manure tea. Yeah, because it's really good for drinking as well. Okay, the rabbit manure tea. Psych. Okay, let's see here. Stone Creek says Florida is getting all the seaweed in the world. That's what I heard. I saw something online that said Florida, this giant blob. They called it a blob. That's not a very scientific name. It doesn't really make sense, but I guess it is an illustrative name. So this giant blob of seaweed is coming to Florida right now, which I guess it's just really, really bad. Like a lot of it. I mean, I'm not there, you know, and I know how the news distorts everything and everything's an emergency, you know, fear, everything's an emergency and all that, but I'm sure there's elements of truth to it. Let's see here. Ursula, my friend, hello. She says, I vote philosophical Nate Murray live streams. Okay, well, that settles it. We're doing the Nate Murray live. When would be a good time to do that, guys? Successful Garden Design says, yes, do it on the Nate Murray channel. Would be great. Not too late for the Europeans. Okay, tell me, when? Is 12 noon a good time? We could do 12 noon on Mondays. What do you think about that? Give us something to look forward to on Mondays, even though my schedule isn't like that. There's no difference between the weekends or the weekdays. But yes, what do you think? 12 noon Eastern time on Monday. Does that make sense for anybody? So let's see here. Spreading Idea says, can I use old sheep manure instead of chicken, JLF? Absolutely, you can. Sheep manure is wonderful. Old sheep manure you can add right to the soil. So you can add that right to the soil, but you can also make the tea out of it. The tea really is the best with the strong stuff that in my opinion, it's best suited for fresh chicken manure because you can't really, I mean, you can, but you don't use fresh chicken manure fresh, like put it right into the soil. There's too many fertilizer salts. But so people are like, well, I got all this chicken manure, but I can't use it till next year. Okay, but if you make a tea with it, you can use it very soon. Okay. But that being said, cow and horse and all of that, they all make good liquid fertilizers. I'll show you guys here coming up pretty soon. Okay, Ben T says 12 noon Mondays for the philosophical discussion on the Nate Muri channel would work great. Just got to remember now. Okay, I will make so I'm here in 12 noon. There will at least be a couple people there, and that's cool. And that we can talk about anything on that channel. The master cleanse, detoxification, the food system, what is being done to us through the food system, what is being perpetuated on us with the centralization and the industrialization of the food supply, what I see coming in the future, all of these kind of things. We can talk more on that channel about that. Or also the nature of reality. That is my favorite topic of all, actually. And I have more passion for that kind of topic even than this. So Jerry says, I need some pest repellent for Dollar General as they are trying to rezone ag land next door and bring a store of junk and light pollution to our rural world. Let's see. Fighting them at town hall for now. Yeah, guys, Jerry lives in a very beautiful place in central Indiana. I mean, very beautiful, way out of the way. And just kind of old, just where the flatland is starting to turn to hills. It's pretty cool. So yeah, he's got some grass-fed, free-range cows and stuff like that. So we're working on certain things, and he's also sort of in charge, or maybe becoming in charge, of a university gardening type program. They got a real nice place down there, and so we're talking about that. All kinds of good ideas and stuff like that. So I want to do like seminars down there for the students. I want to do a thing where I come, and do like a seminar kind of like this, but where I explain to them the importance of having life in the soil and why all these miles and miles of land around us is not going to work. That is not the way of the future, because it can't be, because it's poisoning and depleting the land. That up until now, we've had a bank account, a surplus of nutrients created over thousands of years that has been stored in the soil. But for about 50 years now, every year we've been making deposits from that bank account and putting nothing back into that account. So simple math will tell you we are eventually going to run that account dry, and that's exactly what we're running into. And so we need to start doing things that grow food, but also put back into that bank account. Means making the land more fertile for the following generations. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I get passionate about that. Okay, Taida says, yes, I'm there at noon on Mondays. Oh, yes. Okay, so Rachel says, yes, Nature of Reality is a great topic. Looking forward to it. Okay, this is awesome. So I'm seeing Monday at 12 noon Eastern time on the channel titled Nate Muri. We'll do a live there about so many things. So put it on your books. I'll put a reminder out for it. Yes. Spreading Idea says, please put for us the other channel address. Yes, I'll put it in the link of the description after this video. I'll put it in the description, a link to the channel where we'll have the 12 noon. Also, I have another channel, Travel Like a Viking, where I have begun telling about tales from my voyages, things like that. Laura Green, I love how your dad supports you every week. So cool. Do you have a vegetable garden, Scott Muri? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's who that came from. Oh, that's right. $10. Thanks, Dad. Yes. So he does have a vegetable garden, and that is the one that we had to battle with the tree roots. That was my first real experience with those tree roots. It was unbelievable. Both of us were like, we've never seen anything like this. So how is this? I've never even heard of anything like this. But yet anywhere we put the garden, the trees would boom, just totally overtake the entire thing till it became a carpet of tree roots. Crazy. Val Thatcher, $5. Thank you very much for the tip, my friend. And thanks, Nate. I'll be there at noon. All right. So nice. We got at least 5 or 10 of us already. That's going to be great. It's going to be a nice little thing we got going on. Okay. And yes. So guys, don't forget to check out the Garden Like a Viking Instagram. Okay. Let's see. Josh Riley says, just learning about electroculture. It might be a good topic. We discussed electroculture last week, and I gave my, towards the middle of the discussion, I gave my opinion on electroculture. So for those of you, I will spare it to you this week, okay? Maybe we'll talk about electroculture again. I'll give my opinion on it, but since we just talked about it last week, I'll go ahead and steer a little bit away from it. So, but I definitely have a strong opinion on it. I Run Amok says, I'll be there tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow, well, Monday. It's Monday at noon. I guess depending on where you're at. I don't know where you're at. Monday at noon. So at noon Eastern time. That's New York time. Okay. Becky Knight, I'll be there at noon too. Love reality and nature. All right. No Way says, you have already warped my reality. Ha ha. Awesome. Let's see. Roverino says, fresh horse manure, pine shaving bedding, not heating up. You said horse urine adds enough nitrogen to horse manure to get it hot. What should I add? Sorry. Let's see here. What were we talking about? Okay, the horse manure. Now, that's going to depend on the thermal mass, okay? So you have to have proper thermal mass, meaning enough stuff that is going to heat up to the point where it can break stuff down rapidly. To the point where it can heat up rapidly, you are going to have at least a 4x4x4 cube. Okay, they say 3x3x3, but I say 4x4x4. In my experience, you want to have that be the minimum size required. So if it's not heating up, you probably don't have enough thermal mass. And then if it's not heating up still, you want to make sure it's nice and moist. So add a couple of gallons of your own urine to that, okay? Let's see, Roverino says 4x4x6. Okay, so you've got enough thermal mass. Then do you have enough moisture? You need to have enough moisture because the bacteria actually are like aquatic creatures in a way. That they move in a very thin layer of water, of moisture around stuff. So without the moisture, they're not going to have the activity that they want. So what I recommend is to pour a couple of gallons of your own urine onto that, okay? And you will have better results. You could also make you could also take some of the straight up horse apples, or road apples you call. You could take some of those and make a tea out of that, and then use that to put back into on top of it. And all of that is going to help. You could also add some of the fish fertilizer. Also add some of the labs. Add some of the labs to that pile, and it will begin to break down. But it also depends on how the people take care of their horses, because I've been to so many different places with horses now and use the manure and stuff that some of them remove the manure and the bedding like daily, or I don't know if it's daily, but at the moment that there is droppings, they remove it. And so when you go to pick it up, it's like 85% wood chips, or bedding material, and just a few little bits of the manure. But then some people, I've gone to their place and it's like 80-90% just manure with a little bit of bedding in there, but they must either really wait or they must sift it out or something. So that's what you want. You want a much higher ratio of the manure than the wood chips, okay? Hello, Trish on the Instagram. Thank you guys for joining up there, okay? Dust to Living Soil says, mine's 6x6x6 and it's 150 degrees. Lots and lots of water. That's good. Lots of water and you want to keep it covered. Okay. Jerry says, any progress with getting those Asian carp for fertilizer? Guys, here in a couple weeks, I'm going to be showing you how to make the K&F tradition, the fish amino acids, which is a fantastic fertilizer. Okay. It's really good. It's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more involved than the J-DOM. Well, much more than the J-DOM. J-DOM's so simple, but it works really well. Okay. And so I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that, how to make that one. And I'm going to be with Rusty Reed, the Turtle Man, the guy that I went down to Arkansas with. He's got a YouTube channel as well. And we are going to go in the river and we're going to spear some of those carp. And I'll take you guys with us because they're invasive and they're like all over the place and stuff. And so we are going to go on this canoe and I'll probably put the GoPro on and stuff like that. Maybe I'll put the GoPro on the end of the spear and boom, we're going to get the carp. So I'll take you guys along for that. And then I'll show you how to make the fish amino acids out of it. Trish, sending you lots of healing love and light for those sniffles. Thank you very much. I actually feel fantastic. It's just some kind of strange thing with the sinuses. Becky Knight, can you pour straight seawater on compost? Yes, you can. Don't utilize too much of it though, but yes, you can pour it straight onto the compost. Let's see, was there a, let's see, Ben says, put a link for your channels, Nate. I will. As soon as this is over, I'll put them in the description. I thought I saw a donation. Oh, I did. Mick, $20. Thanks a lot, my friend. So, hey, how is your winter sowing stuff going, man? Mick, he took it real serious. I mean, he really ran with it. He's got like 48. Did I count? I was like, you got like 48 jugs of winter sowing. So totally adequate and really good. To do that method if you don't have the indoor facilities. So thank you very much for the support, my friend. I appreciate you. Let's see, Link, what's up, my man? He says, hey, just planted a walnut tree, bare root. It's about 7 feet high. Any info on pruning them as you would have deciduous fruit tree to keep it shorter? Let's see. I don't have a lot of long-term experience with that, but I can say that we need to do a little research into that for sure. But I wouldn't imagine pruning it all that much. I mean, definitely you want to keep it a bit branchier, yeah, but I don't think you'd have to prune it too much. But you don't want it to grow, obviously, like the regular, you don't want it to be too tall, of course. So yeah, but the main thing is keep it mulched or keep a cover crop around it. Did you plant it on those swale type things that we designed for the garden? Those, because remember, that's the ones that are really going to stop the water coming. And we want to get a cover crop. We want to get something on those swales. You know, Spreading Ideas says, for wedding agent, can I use olive oil or sunflower oil? We don't have canola in my country. Absolutely, you can. Best would be olive oil. That is the best. Yes, as far as it's non-GMO and it's typically not loaded with a bunch of gnarly stuff, yes, you can do that. So that will work just fine. Let's see, Tree Rogue said, I saw your urine video because I know a good Viking is a great European. Ha ha! Get it? Good one. Okay, let's see. Corinne Wisdom on Instagram says, oh, we can be in the video on Instagram. Can you? How are you in the video? Let's see. Dust to Soil says, so the J-DOM is still the best FAA? Well, J-DOM, FAA is fish amino acids, and we make it with a different method. We make it in the K&F tradition, which we haven't gotten that much into K&F here because I wanted to start with the J-DOM, which is the simplest and most effective in my experience. And I had a lot of experience with both. And I simply, K&F to me is, well, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to all of it. I won't get into it too much here, but it's K&F is really for people that like to like make little products and to use all kinds of it's just different. But it uses a lot of sugar. Okay, it uses a lot of sugar. And we don't have sugar around here. We don't grow sugar. And so that is right away, I was like, well, that's, way more complex than the JDOM. And so anyways, we are going to, I will come out with more of the K&F stuff here. A couple of them this year, and then maybe a couple of them. We'll do like the IMO, 1 through 4, 1 through 5 even. I mean, really. But we'll do the IMOs probably next year. So I can get some good collections here at the end of the year to make IMO 1 and 2. But the FAA is it's just a different kind. It's much thicker. You can dilute it much more, and it actually doesn't smell nearly as bad. The JDOM stuff reeks. It smells, but that's not a problem. I mean, that's not like an issue other than the smell. But the FAA pretty much is like does not smell. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah. Let's see here. Emerald Knot says, you recently posted a pesticide video. Is that one good for slugs and snails? They have destroyed everything I've direct sowed. Not so much. I will be releasing a video here before long about the ultimate slug and snail killer. Yeah. You have to be very careful about using it, use it at your own discretion. And when I make the video this year, I'm not going to give a demonstration like I did last year and I had to take the video down. I'm just going to give the recipe because so many of you have said, I can't even have a crop because of the slugs and snails. So I will tell to you in the video the absolute #1 way, the guaranteed way. And nobody else talks about this. Nobody else, I don't think, even knows about this. But the #1 way, this spray will eliminate. It totally dissolves the slugs. So let's see. FYI, no way. Oh, okay. I see. No way on YouTube. So you guys got different screen names on the Instagram. So got my JWA curing before mixing the bulk of the water. Thank you, my friend. Hey, you're very welcome. Good health. Yes, you're very welcome. Let's see here. YouTube stream is better. Oh yeah, YouTube is definitely better. And that's where I'm going to focus all my efforts. I'm just trying to gather, I'm just trying to do the Instagram thing as well. Okay, so Val says, how important is the fish furt? Don't eat fish, and the manager of the local market won't donate. What? Won't donate his dated fish to my garden cause. Will buy if I need to. Why will he not donate the fish? What's he do with them? Throw it out? That'd be absurd. He must sell it to maybe fish emulsion makers. No, you can go to a river. Val, you are in Arizona, though. Is that correct? But you can go to any place where fish reside, and you can use your fishing pole or spear or whatever it is and acquire some fish. Do an invasive type of fish like carp, the Asian carp, or there's other kinds of, find out what the invasive fish is in your area and then go and get them. And you can use the whole fish. That's the best way. Alberto, $5. Thank you very much for the tip, my friend. I appreciate you. Let's see here. I would test it, but I don't have snails yet. Yes? Okay, let's see. Northern, thank you. Have you... Okay, Lisa of Light says, thank you, Nate. Have any of you ever tested the theory that snails will not cross a copper strip? Yeah, I've heard of this. Lisa, I would test it, but I don't have snails yet. Yeah, I have not really tried that because I just do not have, I mean, what am I going to invest $400 in wire for 1,000 plants or something? It's just, there's no way that would be scalable. The copper wire, if you have a couple of plants, maybe that works. But if you've got like hundreds or thousands of plants, that's not going to work. That's not an option. So therefore, you have to come up with something cheap and very effective that you can just spray on. Okay, that's the best way. Pop Perm says incense are cancerous. There is a lot of data about their negative effects. I understand everything has balance, but it seems even a small amount isn't great. Here for a great time, not a long time. I'm not sure how, I don't have any incense here right now. I'm not sure what you mean by that, although I can understand that. Yes, natural incense can be one thing, but definitely chemical incense for sure. Let's see. PA says, walk ducks through your garden in the morning and evening. They'll eat slugs and snails. Yeah, if you have the ability to have ducks, definitely. Okay, Val was asking how important is the fish fertilizer. Fish, it's just so effective. The proteins in the fish have been used for thousands of years in agriculture. And when I was in the redwoods, I was living in the Redwood Grove in Northern California, and the Indians there, the natives there, were what tribe? I'm trying to think of the tribe. Yurok, I think, was the tribe there. And he said that the reason that this is known to them, that the reason that the redwoods, one reason that they are so massive, I mean, they're unbelievably massive. If you've never seen the redwoods, you have to go there. There's more living mass material per square area in the redwoods than in the tropical rainforest. Yeah, it's all tied up in the trees, of course, the mass, but they're alive. And the fungal network of the connection underneath the ground, you can feel it. I mean, it electrifies the area. And the Yurok Indian guy was explaining to me, his name is Skip, and he was explaining to me that one reason that the redwoods get so big is because the salmon run up the rivers there, the creeks, what were the name of some of the creeks? I forget. But they run in the creeks there, in the rivers. And each year, thousands and thousands of salmon, they run up, they spawn, and then they die. And then they kind of float back down. And that they decompose and they die in the rivers and on the shores. And the mycelial network, okay, the fungi, the network of fungi, kind of absorb the nutrients from the riverbanks and from underneath the river and from all around the river, absorb those nutrients and transport them all the way inland, miles, to the redwoods. And that boom is why they grow so well. And when he was saying this, I was like, what does that even mean? What do you mean? Do you mean this literally? I mean, this is all fantasy hocus pocus, right? But little did I know. See, and then as life progressed and I came to the understanding of the way things actually work and how everything is absolutely connected, literally, and that we are this is an electro universe passing information from one form to another. And I come to find out how the microbial life works, how the fungi works, and how they do communicate, and how they do send these nutrients. And I come to find this is absolutely true. Yes. And they knew this thousands of years ago. It's that native wisdom. So yes. So the fish is very important, guys. The fish is very important. And but if you can't use it, then you need another high nitro source. There really isn't much of a replacement for it. I would just get some fish, okay? No Way says, wait, what happened to the video? What video? Clifford says, salmon are why there are redwoods. Yes, I believe this. Avenue of the Giants. Oh, man, I used to work. One of the mountains I was on was right off of Avenue of the Giants. I mean, unbelievable, man. Even thinking about it, my heart, I can just feel it. The vibration, the area is still, my heart is like, it still pulls me like in that direction. You know, it's just incredible. Let's see here. Ehab says, good evening. Hello. Nancy says, I love you are doing lives during the days. I can never do evenings or nights. Much appreciated. Greetings from Ohio. All right. So we are not far away from each other. So, okay, let's see here. Okay, guys. Well, if you, Pop Perm says, thank you for responding. You are truly amazing. You're very welcome, my friend. Yes, my local diner wouldn't donate eggshells. Man, some stingy people wouldn't donate eggshells. Pop Perm says, okay, wow, I thought your coffee steam was incense. No, I would never have incense right here, like in my face. No, I would use like Palo Santo, or some, the true incense that the monks roll themselves. I sometimes use those. Or frankincense. I do burn frankincense, actual tears of frankincense, but I never would sit here and just breathe it in like that. No, but good looking out though. Thank you. So, okay guys, well, I didn't even realize, man, we're already at 90 minutes, 94. So if you guys got any burning questions, let me know. Let's see, on Instagram, he says, I have sweet potato slips ready to go in zone 8. Do I need to harden them off? Ready to go, meaning what? So they're on the plant already? Yes, you can pull them off, put them into water, watch my video on that. You can pull them off, put them into water until they sprout some more slips, and that will make it better. Yeah. And then keep the growing medium very, very moist when you plant them. All right. So yes, but as far as hardening them off to the elements outside, not really. I mean, you can, but the best thing to do is to put the whole thing outside. So you guys see how mine is coming up already like this? On a nice sunny day, go ahead and put it outside for an hour or two so it can start getting hardened off. They will really like that a lot. Let's see here. And Graham says, nature is mind-blowing. If only people knew. Absolutely, my friend. I know you get it. And wow, had no idea trees could transport so far away. Amazing. Yes. And the redwoods also communicate with each other. If there is a redwood grove, and this has been documented, but this was already known to the natives, if there is a redwood grove in like 150 miles away somewhere in Oregon or something, and it sensed that their redwoods, like in Humboldt somewhere, were deficient in certain nutrients, it will move those nutrients miles and miles. They documented up to like 100 miles. It can move those nutrients to the ones that need it. That will take dozens or even hundreds of years, but the lifespan of redwood is unfathomable, thousands of years, a living creature. So yeah, they're just mind-blowing. That's really where I want to buy land. So when I get land and start the school for you guys and all that stuff, it has to be where the redwoods grow, man, because that's just it. I don't know why. Laura Green, 11 New Zealand dollars. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate your presence here. Lucas says, Nate, can cover crop be planted through thick crop residue or should it be moved? Can it be planted through the thick crop residue? So you planted it and then put the crop residue over it? Or if you watch my video that I did, it has to be done in the fall time though, pretty much. So I took the crop residue, mowed everything down, and then put some manure on top of it, and then some leaf mold on top of that. And then I planted a cover crop on top of all of that. Winter rye and crimson clover. And it's working great. I mean, it's growing super thick. It's loving life. Yes, you can do it. But if you're doing it now, that's not really going to be enough time. So I would say no. Okay, my friends. So it's been real. And check out the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account. And thank you very much to everyone who has done the donation thing. I really appreciate you guys. I got this letter in the mail the other day from this guy. I mean, I got a letter in the mail the other day, okay? Just yesterday, actually, I received it. And I was like, wow. And I forget even giving this person my address or the address to send it to. And then it says, Nate, you're doing great work. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Man, that is so awesome. I just appreciate that. It's really good to feel appreciated, okay? And I know, I'm not just saying this is the only way to feel appreciated, but this is the first time someone's done that, like handwritten it out and sent me something in the mail like that. I just think that's super cool. It's also super cool, all you guys that are contributing to the cause through this method. Also, the link that I put in the description to the PayPal account, that's also super cool. Also, you can contribute just by sharing the videos. That helps, okay? That helps everything. And by commenting and by giving it thumbs up, all that kind of stuff, it's all contributing to the cause because we are on a mission to get everybody growing food, just like it used to be many years ago, okay? So, oh, I wanted to show you real quick. All right, I want to show you real quick my onion seedlings. So see how stout they are, man? And I trimmed these just like 3 days ago. Now they already need trimming again. And you see, you want to do this. Every time you go into the grow room, you want to do this to them. And that helps to beef them up. And these are going to be nice to transplant out. And we're going to transplant these about the middle of April. We're going to transplant these outside. Yep, give or take. And I give these 1 ounce a gallon of the fish fertilizer. I'll also put in maybe 1 ounce a gallon of various JLFs. And they are just loving life, guys. So yeah, you can tell these are super healthy. And so you want to keep them trimmed to about 5 inches, give or take. But yes, I grew these from seed, Nancy. Grew these from seed. That's how I always grow the onions. I love it. And let's see, okay. I shared, and my friends in Burma maybe, are your new fans. Okay, awesome. Doesn't hog most of it from you? Yes. Yes. Okay, my friends. So we could just keep on and on like this, but we got to go. Okay. So be well. I will see you here next Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time every Saturday, and bring your questions. All right.